it's a different format. When I won in 2008, it was a one-off event, whereas the last year in 2011 was a World Series, so you accumulate points through the year, and then I obviously accumulated enough to be the winner at the end. So although I didn't win the final race, which was the World Champ Series final in Beijing, I was second. I had enough points to actually win the race. So it was an amazing feeling. I didn't at the beginning of the year I didn't expect to be coming out of it world champ. Obviously it was an aim, so it was in the back of my mind, but to actually kind of cross the finish line in Beijing, although finishing second, it was like, wow, world champ again. It was a good feeling to stand on top of the podium.
And what you seem to be is far more consistent. Every race you were in the sort of top 1, 2, 3. Did you feel like the whole season was just going better than it had previously?
Yeah, I mean the main focus of the season was the Olympic test event in Hyde Park. So everything before that was focused on Hyde Park. Then after that, it was that's when the focus really switched to actually, trying to become world champion. So yeah, I felt like everything was going right leading up. Just going well, consistent. I mean, the only race I didn't finish on the podium was in Sydney, where I crashed, and then there was a sprint distance race included in Lausanne, which was I was fourth in that. Fourth, yeah. So, I mean, that was and that was a couple of weeks after Hyde Park. I still felt a little bit mentally drained for that one.
Yeah. Now that you are world champion, do you think that gives you a mental advantage coming into the Olympics, or indeed could it be seen as a bit more of a burden than a bit more pressure?
I think it could be a bit more pressure, but it does give me a lot of confidence to know that I had such a good consistent year last year, and I've had a good period of winter training, so hopefully those two things will give me confidence into the season. And I've just got to, it's up to me. If I let the pressure get to me, it's going to be me who feels the pressure, so I just have to put it aside and just focus on the races and try not to think about, is this more pressure? Are people looking at me? Because I know obviously going into the Olympic year as world champion, there's people that's going to be saying, oh, you're the favourite, you're one of the favourites. So I just try not to focus on that and just focus on taking each race as it comes, each training session, each day, and I find that's a good way to deal with it.
Fantastic. Well, we're early on in the year. How's preparation begun?
Yeah, definitely. We had a bit of a break at the end of the season last year, getting back into training, and had done a few camps in Lanzarote in Club de Santa to really kickstart the preparation, kickstart the training. It just having a bit of warmer weather for a few weeks really allows you to get out a little bit more training. So yeah, everything's been going well so far. Training's progressing. I'm looking forward to starting the season in about, I think it's just over a month, so it'll be good just to get going now.
Yeah. So which is your first race this year?
First race of the year will be the Sydney World Champ Series, so it's a big event to go into as my first race, but so that'll be quite nerve-wracking. I know a lot of people will be going into it race fit, because for a lot of people it's their Olympic selection races, so I'm going to be going into it having just come off winter training. It's going to make it tough, but at the same time I'm looking forward to it.
Great.
Well, last year in 2011, all my focus was on one race in Hyde Park, so I think we kind of had a test run of that last year, and it worked pretty well. So it is, I mean, again, it is a little bit different, because there really is, the first race of the year is going to be Sydney World Champs, whereas if I was focusing on the series, I would have done some more preparation races into Sydney, but because the main focus is, August the 4th, the triathlon, it's not such a big deal how I go in Sydney. It's just about getting race fit, and the goal of that race is not to accumulate points for the World Champs Series. The goal is to get race fit ready for August.
Yeah. Do you train as an individual, or do you train in a team or a pair? Or
I train mostly with my husband Mark, and he's my coach too. I've got a great swimming club that I swim with. They're all kids, but it's brilliant. It's a really relaxed environment to train in. Quite a lot of friends I go cycling with, and running mainly on my own, but then as we get closer to the season and in the middle of the season I start running with the running club then.
And what's it like in the training camps, because you join up with some of the other British athletes, don't you? Is that great camaraderie?
It is, yeah. I mean, we all get on really well. There's And I think that's good that we can all be friends, but I mean, when you're racing, you're out to beat everyone.
Yeah.
It's always the way it's going to be, but I think on training camp, everyone's pretty good. We put that aside. We've got a job to do, and there's no point, smashing each other in training just to get an edge over someone. It's about the long-term process, and it's always a good atmosphere on those camps.
Yeah. And what would you say is a sort of typical training week? I mean, do you have a typical training week?
My training varies quite a lot, so we tend to go off kind of a 2-week cycle, and but I normally swim 5 times a week, ride 5 times, and run 6 or 7 times a week with 2 gym sessions. I see the physio twice a week, and then I have to do kind of all the stretching and stuff in between. And I normally have a day off, half a day off the first week, and then a full day off kind of the second week, and we try. But as Mark is my coach, the training can be pretty flexible, because he sees, the days where, I'm fresh, he's like, oh, you can do a bit more today, or, do a bit less today, and we kind of change it as we go along. It's pretty flexible. Yeah,
I was going to say, how does that relationship work? Because you're obviously close, and he's your coach as well, so the coach has got to be quite critical sometimes. Does that work well? It
does work really well, but I think it's due to like our personalities. Like Mark knows that if he puts something on the training, I'm likely to do more than it says than less. I'm not, I know what my limits are. And if he writes down a session, he doesn't need to write down the speeds I've got to run at or the effort I've got to put in. He knows that I'm going to put the effort in. So it's very much he completely trusts that I'm going to do the work, and I trust that he's going to put the right training down for me. So we just get on with it. It's just natural to us now. Nutrition is really important. It's the one thing that people maybe forget about, and I think I've used it a lot more over the past few years. It's really become, as you're getting closer to the top, and every percent is crucial, so really getting the nutrition spot on, I think over the past few years has become very important.
And as part of that nutrition, you use Udo's oil. So why have you incorporated that into your nutritional regime?
Udo's oil has been brilliant for me. I use it especially after hard sessions. I make sure I have it every day, but I try to get it in after my hard sessions. I find it just helps me recover better, and having all the essential fats, you just need them when you're doing the volume of training that we're doing as athletes for, growth, repair, adaptation. It's very important. There's a number of girls that can actually win the gold on the day. I think going into the last Olympics in Beijing, there was kind of a few standout people, but everyone's been a lot closer over the past few years, and especially in the women's field. I mean, Paula Findlay is, I say, one of the favourites because she's won probably the most races recently. But then there's 3 Australians, they're all called Emma, they're all really good. Kiwi, Andrea Hewitt, they're probably the main contenders, but there's a lot more girls out there. The best thing to do is line up on the day and think, there's 55 girls on the start list, and there's 55 people who can win then. So. It's hard to put into words because it's. I think no one knows what it's going to be like until you actually do it. It's a massive focus of mine. It's a huge part of my life at the moment. It's probably something I think about every day, every training session. That's why I'm doing it. I'm getting out the door. So it's. I don't really know what it'd feel like to actually feel like that. The race is August the 4th, so on August the 5th I'm either going to be ecstatically happy or, really, really disappointed. So then I look at it that I've just got to do everything I can to get there in the best shape possible, and hopefully that'll come away with a medal or a gold.
And to represent your country at the Olympics?
I think it is hitting home a little bit more now, because we've just been in Lanzarote training with very limited internet there, and didn't watch TV or anything, so I'm very isolated. And I came back and I was doing a few days in London for some sponsorship stuff. And, there's posters everywhere. It's London 2012. It's 160 days to go. It's 150 days to go. So you do think, and you really get the sense that people are going to be watching. Whereas I think normally you're just off racing in some corner of the world, and people think, oh, that's nice, someone British has done well, but to do well at home with the British support there, I think it's an amazing feeling to represent your country, but to do it on home soil is it's going to be good.
And you're from Bridgend, You live there. Do you find you get local support? Is that building up? Or?
Yeah, a lot more recently. I think because my name's been in local papers. It's been on the local news. So I think it's really exciting. I mean, even in Wales, I think we're a little bit more away from the whole London 2012 because there's not many events going on down there. I think there's going to be some football, but we're still a little bit removed from it. But yeah, like people see me out running and stuff. I'm running around. I run through the town down to the local fields and down to into the countryside. So you get the people who see you every day because they're out with their dog. And they're like, oh, good luck and wishing you the best. So it's really nice that there is that local support there. Yeah.
Well, let's add our best wishes for you to do wonderfly well at the Olympics and bring home the gold for us.
Yeah, that would be nice. I'll try my best.
Thank you, Helen.